Sup? This is Greggatron. How are y'all? I hope you're doing fine, because I sure am. And I hope you like my shirt. Yeah! Haven't wore this one in a while. It's my Nightwing shirt. I think I got this shirt from the mall. One of my favorite superheroes. Nah, I mean, probably top 2, top 3. Speaking of superheroes, this video is about heroes. And what is a hero? I've been contemplating this question for a while. I'm like, man, I really need to talk about this. What is a hero, right? It's so good. Let's dig into it. When I think of a hero, you know your initial thoughts. You think like a firefighter or a police officer or somebody on the SWAT team, the paramedics, the doctors. Who else? The army men, the Marines, people who are kicking in the doors, taking care of bad guys, right? Well, then I thought, well, they're getting paid to do that, though. That's their job, right? So I'm not trying to discredit any of the things I just said, the heroic things that they're doing, but they're getting paid to do that. The thing about these types of people who are the first thing you think of when you think of hero, the firefighters, etc., those guys are cut from a different cloth. So, if you're a Marine, let's take the most extreme profession. You're a Marine, you're cut from the craziest cloth out there. Like, I know guys from high school who ended up being Marines, and it's like, I can totally get that, because it's so up their alley, it suits their personality like a mug, and there's nothing else they could have done in life but be a Marine. Or some type of ranger or something. So you being cut from a different cloth or a special cloth, that's not what makes you a hero. Which, that's good stuff. That's cool. But let's dig deeper. Alright? Because not everybody's built for that type of job. Being a paramedic or a nurse or a doctor or a veteran or a police chief, or whatever, right? So I came up with my own definition of what a hero is. A hero, in my opinion, is an individual who inspires others to do good. Think about that. Now, all those people who I named off earlier, the firefighter, the policeman, the paramedic, them simply doing their job, that's not what makes them a hero. For example, if I'm dying in a burning building, and if a firefighter saves my life, that's not what makes him a hero. Now, if that firefighter now inspires me to become a firefighter, so I can now save lives, that's what makes him a hero. Think about that. That's deep. So, my definition has to include someone who inspires others to do good. That's the key word, good. Well, one might ask, well, Greg, what is good? Define good. How do you define such a thing? By good, I mean, for instance, not robbing a bank. Good meaning you're pushing yourself further. You're achieving a higher goal. You're pushing yourself to the next level to better yourself. You're moving in a positive direction. Alright? That's what I mean by good. So I talked about robbing a bank. If there's an individual out there who inspires you to rob a bank, I don't consider that person a hero, because robbing banks is not a quote-unquote good deed. Like, let's say let's say you don't know what to do with your life, right? And you're like, wow, I look up to this person. This was the greatest bank robber of all time. This person robbed 100 banks in his life before he got caught, right? Therefore, now I want to rob banks for a living. And this person made millions and everything. I don't consider that person who's doing all these bank robberies a hero, because that's not a good thing to do. Now, you could flip that argument and say, well, what if he's robbing it for all the right reasons? What if he's what if he's like Robin Hood? Or what if he's just trying to feed his family or fix the system or whatever? You know how there's always another side to the story. No, you're not going to do that with me. Not right here. Robbing banks is wrong. Robbing anybody is wrong. So we're not going to play devil's advocate when it comes to that. Now, I might make another... Well, I already talked about a video about what is good, right? That was an interesting one. So, those type of deeds, those don't count as heroic deeds. Heroic deeds meaning you're moving yourself into a positive direction. Alright? Some examples. There's a guy at my job who sometimes he brings his kids to work. My job is not his full-time job. His full-time job is elsewhere, but sometimes he brings his kids up to the job. And he says to his kids, hey kids, you know who this guy is? He's pointing at me. And the kids are just kind of looking at me. And he's like, this guy right here, he's my hero. I'm like, oh, Lord. I was like, nah, man, that's not true, man. I said, kids, they're like little kids. I was like, kids, your dad is my hero. He's like, nope, it's the other way around. Anyway, he walks off. Well, then my coworker, after he leaves, he just looks at me and he's like, y'all so full of crap. But he didn't, he didn't say crap, though. He's like, y'all so full of S. But like, nah, man, that's my guy. Well, he says that I'm his hero because I inspired him to get busy in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Because he used to look like me when he was younger. Whereas now that he's in his 50s or whatever, he shrunk down. But when he sees me, he says stuff like, I'm his hero. Because I inspire him as far as this weightlifting stuff. Another example, my old boss from security. One time I hadn't seen him in weeks because our shifts just didn't line up. Well, one day I saw him. I'm relieving him from his shift. And he's like, ugh, what you been doing? Because he's seen my gains. I was like, I've been hitting the gym, man. What you been doing? He's like, I ain't gonna lie. He's funny. That's how he talked. I ain't gonna lie. I've been out of it for a while. But don't worry about it. I'll get back into it. I was like, that's cool, man. That's cool. And then he's like, you inspired me. So that's neat. So the fact that he said I inspired him, I consider myself a hero in that aspect. Because when he saw me, he wanted to lift weights again. And he has his home gym is in his basement. Mine is in my garage. So we would always talk about that type of stuff. And then you got the people online, you guys. I hear people in the comment section, well, I guess I don't hear it. I see it. I read it. People are talking about, man, you inspire me, man. Because I'm just this normal guy, like you guys. So I said in my last video, if I can inspire one person, just one, I'm cool with that. I'm just giving you guys what I know, what I've done in the gym. And it doesn't have to be gym related. These are just my little examples. A hero can be somebody who inspires you financially, physically, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, any of the lees. Anyone who can inspire you in any of those departments to do better, I consider that person a hero. Like, let's say you don't know what you want to do with your life. and you see somebody, let's just say, for example, who became a voice actor, and you're like, oh, I always wanted to be a voice actor. I didn't know it was this easy to do. Well, somebody steers you down the right path. Before you know it, you're doing auditions to be a voice actor. The person who implanted that seed in your head, I consider that person a hero. Now, you might not succeed at it, but as long as you got the inspiration, that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? And there's another level that is to this as far as your friends, because I was thinking about this. I have a friend, I'm not going to say his name, but I would kind of consider him a hero because he let me crash at his place for a whole summer in order for me to save money to buy my house. Right? But that's more on the lines of friends. I'm going to make another video called What is a Friend? Because heroes can be friends and friends can be heroes. But that might be a different topic, right? So, who are my heroes? I put my dad up there in the sense that my dad always worked. I always remember when I was a kid, my dad was working. And there's adults to this day who I see to this day at my job who they know my dad because my dad knows everybody. And like this lady I work with now, she'll say, oh, I seen your dad at such and such job. I was like, oh, yeah? She's like, yeah, every time I see him, he's always working. He's always working. And I told her, yeah, that's where I get my work ethic from, right? So when my dad had a job when we were growing up, he was always at that job. Unless if he didn't have that job anymore. But that's where I get my work ethic from my dad. Another person or people would be my friends' dads. A lot of them guys, when I was growing up, many of them were solid as a rock. For example, I'm not going to say his name, but these people know who they are. My friend's dad, right? He was like super strict. He was super strict, but at the same time, he was like really cool. But he was funny. He was funny at the same time. So like I remember growing up, I was kind of like scared of him, but I wanted to kick it with him at the same time. Cause like as far as discipline, you didn't know what he was gonna do to my friends. But he would never like whoop us. He didn't even like whoop my friends. Well, yeah, he did. But I wasn't afraid like we would get whooped by my friend's dad. But I was always thinking like he's gonna make me do push-ups or something. Because I remember he was a football coach, right? That was what it was. But he acted like he was almost like a military sergeant or something, which I don't think he was. But there was always something heroic about him in the sense that his mental toughness, he didn't take no crap. You know what I mean? His whole, you're not getting away with this. You're not getting past me with this. Ain't nothing getting past me type of mentality. And he was really smart. He was good with computers and stuff. Film. Yeah. Recently he he reached out to me. He's like, hey, I'm about to move down south. Can you help me move? I was like, yeah, I'll help you move. So long story short, I helped him load his truck up. It was like it wasn't a U-Haul, but it was some other type of truck. And I didn't ask for any money or anything. I did it before I went to work. And I couldn't even accept money if he tried to pay me. And I told his wife, which is my friend's mom, I was like, so-and-so is my hero. Like, I looked up to this man. I looked up to this man as a child up until now. And I remember, now that he's like in his 60s, I remember how slowly he was moving. I was like, wow. Kind of like my dad. I was like, they're really turning into old people before my very eyes. But there's a lot of homies who had dads who were like that in some degree. Not necessarily as far as the strict thing, but they were just really respectable. And they were role models. Another definition, I guess you could say, of a hero is someone who's a role model in that way. So I guess being a role model and someone who's inspirational go hand in hand. But if I were to have a second definition of a hero, it would be somebody who is a role model. So I can talk about that all day. Another hero, after I had my knee surgeries when I was a kid, a teenager, I had this physical therapist. I can't say his name, but this guy was like the best physical therapist ever. Like, super positive. He knew his stuff. He was like a teacher who didn't need a textbook. That's how good he was. And I remember being a teenager like, man, this dude is the stuff. And at that time, I wanted to become a personal trainer. Not a personal trainer, but a physical therapist. Thanks to him. And even though I'm not a physical therapist, I can still look back and it's like, yo, that dude was the best physical therapist ever. So even though I didn't go on to do that, I still consider him a hero because he inspired me to basically be the best at my job. Get it? But the stories go on. I have a teacher. Well, he's not my teacher anymore. My 7th and 8th grade teacher from language arts. Shout out to you. The school I went to, you have the same teacher twice in a row. So it was like 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, and then 7th and 8th. Well, when I was in 7th and 8th, I had this language arts teacher. That guy, to this day, that's my guy. He would tell a story every day. He was really interactive with the kids. Again, I use the word positive a lot, but always positive. Great speaker. Love to talk. Just a crazy human being who was just awesome. An incredible person, right? And fast forward, I saw him when I was an adult at my job when I worked security. I was like, Mr. So-and-so? He's like, Greg? I'm like, what's going on? Anyway, we ended up having a conversation. We linked information. We kick it now. To this day, I invite him to my birthday parties. He invites me to his birthday parties. This guy recently just turned 50. Like, dang, this is crazy. But he was gifted when it came to teaching and building and establishing relationships with the staff and the kids. And that relationship is still going on to this day. And I see other kids who are younger than me. They had him. So we can talk. And it's like all love. So I would consider him a hero. One more teacher. This video's getting long, but it's all good. She was not physical science. She taught that. She taught zoology, but I had her for anatomy and physiology. She was like the oldest teacher in the school. She was there when the school started. Well, she was the woman who didn't need a textbook. She didn't need no VHS tapes, no nothing. She could just sit there and talk. And she was really good with animals. She knew like everything there is to know about animals. Long story short, my senior year, she wanted me to be her teacher's assistant. So as her assistant, I would grade papers, grade little tests, that sort of thing. So she needed some help at her house on her farm. She owns a big farm, owns a lot of land. So I was like, yeah, I can work for you. So me and her grandson, we used to work on her farm on the weekends. Whether it be, we didn't bale, hey, I didn't anyway, but most of it was like picking up sticks and raking leaves and putting the posts down for the electric fences. We installed electric fences, or at least the posts to the fences. We go on water trips to pick up water for the cattle. Water runs, I guess you could call it. But I remember the first time she gave me some money, she gave me like a wad of cash. And I think I'm still a teenager. Well, 18, maybe 19. And I just looked at her like, whoa. Because I don't think anybody had ever given me that much cash at once. But anyway, she's still alive to this day. She's great. She's fantastic. I consider her a hero because she's just incredible. Does she inspire me? Yeah, actually, because I still say things and think about things that she would say. So, shout out to my old teachers and all the other good people I mentioned. But I do have a question for you guys before this video gets too long. Do you consider God a hero? Think about that. Let me answer. I would say no, in the sense that I don't know if I can say God can inspire me. Now, Jesus, his son, yes, can inspire me. Because Christ, in my opinion, is a hero. Whenever I think of something that I can't do, or if I can't finish something, or if I can't go on any further, or if I don't feel like doing something, I think of Christ like, wait a minute, if Christ was able to drag a cross from point A to point B, I don't know how many miles that was, and people were yelling at him and throwing stuff at him and spitting on him. This man got stabbed. This man was hung up on a cross for several hours. This man had a crown of thorns on his head and everything. They were pouring vinegar on him. If he can go through all that and die and rise back to save us from our mess and our destruction, that's inspirational. To me, that's being a hero. Now, on the other side of that coin, you might say, well, Greg, that was his job. He was sent on earth to do that, right? Yes and no. I mean, yeah, he was sent to do that, but the fact that he took it and didn't complain, that's what draws the inspiration behind it. You know what I'm saying? So, at my job, for instance, I don't even want to hear people complaining. Because if Christ can go through what he went through, you can do your job. Or you can be what you seek to be. Whether it be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer or whatever, right? So yes, it was his job. He was sent to do that. I guess you could say he did it in such a heroic way, in the sense that he went around inspiring others to do great deeds, great works. What do y'all think about that? It's kind of deep, isn't it? Pretty deep stuff. That's the difference between Christ and like a firefighter. Christ, yeah, he was sent to do what he did, but he also inspired the people around him to do great works, which a firefighter can do that too, to bring everything back in full circle. That's just my take on it. What do you think is a hero? I want to know, who were the heroes of your life? Who are the heroes still to this day in your life? Was it your mom, your dad, your big brother, your sister, your uncle? Oh yeah, my uncle, he's another one. Just a solid guy. I've had some solid stand-up people in my life, whether it be family members or friends of the family, or people from school, people from the jobs. Oh yeah. But I believe heroes can be mutual. Like I said about my old boss, we used to inspire one another, right? It's like having a gym partner, a workout partner. Me and my old coworker, we used to go to Planet Fitness after work. But we would push one another, man. We'd push each other. It was like being in track. I remember there was a guy on my track team. His whole thing was, don't let me pass you, because he was like one of the best runners. Don't let me pass you. Don't let me pass you, he'd say. So he was kind of like, I guess you could say, like the team captain. But every time he would get close to anybody, you could hear him coming, and he'd be like, don't let me pass you. That's inspiration. He's making sure you don't fall apart. He's making sure you do well. But if you got passed, that's all the inspiration you need to do better next time. Oh, snap, he passed me. Next time we do this, he better not pass me again. Because if he continues passing me, I'm in trouble. I'm not doing my potential best. But people like that, who always find ways to make you better, those people are heroes. So yeah, good video. Thanks for watching. Peace.